interestingly, I don't come here enough. I really feel like I want to come here a bit more often because teams are not playing this map enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like I've been to Route 66 a lot lately, also Lijiang Tower, and don't get me wrong, I am a big fan of Americana and Chinese culture, but
Let's go to South America.
Yeah, it's nice to get a bit of that Latin feel in my Americana, So real pleasure to be back here at Dorado, and actually I'd say even more of a pleasure to be seeing specifically these teams on it. You guys were just talking about Wumbology, of course a team that were just on the cusp of qualifying yesterday. That I guarantee you is something they would have carried into today. They want to come out the gate swinging, and as much as Ascendancy may be a team, excuse the pun, on the up, this is a team that Wumbology want to knock down because they are here for points.
On the up, I like that.
They are.
And shout out to the Wombats as well of Wumbology's official fan club, the Wombats.
The Wombat, they've got a fan club.
They got a fan club.
Wow.
Well, I don't know if it's a fan club, but they got fans. They call the Wombats, and I know they were out in full force yesterday to root for their team, and maybe today.
Fan clubs, what do you reckon they'd be? Like, you think the Love Shack fan club would just be like the Gigolos?
I don't know. Shack members? I don't know.
The Shacks. The Shaquille O'Neals.
The Shacks.
Nothing but net on with Love Shack. But in any case, neither of these teams are Love Shack. So it looks like we are going to have good old Wumbology just, chilling on the defense to start it off with. I want to see how they seek to pull this one off as the payload gets moving. Interesting lineup.
Well, Park's already back onto the fair. I mean, we've seen how strong that pick is already for him. This is kind of, if it's on one hand an extremely powerful pick for them, but on the other hand could potentially be quite a weakness. It is almost such a reliable pick for them that if any team starts really focusing Park down, I mean, I don't want them to put all their eggs in one basket.
Yeah, and the guy who would do that absolutely would be Yifang here on that Soldier 76. No one quite finding any frags yet, even as Baser gets low, but he's safe enough in that choke point that he can just back off and get healed up. William is quite low himself, though. There we go, going to be able to get a top off with the grenade on both of them. And again, Park is just trying to stay in the sky and harass these people. I haven't really got any frags except for Fractured now, but this is actually keeping Ascendancy very, very caught in this choke point.
Well, that's the kind of problem for Ascendancy here, is that I don't feel like they're applying enough pressure to actually get past the choke point. They're sort of just eating the spam from Park. They're eating the spam from Goobs, and that's not what you want to do against a team lineup that Wumbology has. They have to move a bit quicker, and the shield generator is already up. Ascendancy,
yeah, that's big.
They have to be able to go in here.
They're going to try and commit to it. They do actually get one. Newt taking up Baser to start with. That's a good way to go. Park, though, commits the rocket barrage. That's 3. Dunzo looking to get the last one on the back end of that. Doesn't quite find it, but Absence does pick up Newt. William will go down. Monstrosity catching the last one, but William's going to have plenty of time to come in for the respawn. And only really the one ultimate committed out of Park for a pretty convincing hold.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Nano Boost is in there as well. So he has a Nano Boosted rocket barrage.
You are right,
I think the thing about Newt's play there was that, yeah, you knocked Baser out of the way, but he knocked him all the way to the end of the map. That's actually favoured for Wumbology. You don't want to be taking your Reinhardt that far back, because the rest of the other 5 Ascendancy members were just completely ducks in the battle to their rocket.
They're going to go for it again. Last time Newt found Baser with this move. This time he's going to find bullets to the face as Absence just keeps the damage on. And the rest of them just kind of get cleared up by the car wash of Goobs and Park raining hell from above, if I do say so myself. And honestly, they're finding it really hard here, Ascendancy, to push through this choke point.
And again, the same mistake again. Newt's charging in very deep. This time he got punished way harder. Again, they don't have a shield to back them up here, and they're just lamb to the slaughter against Wumbology. They have to play aggressively with all their members here. They're relying on Newt to get the charge in. They're relying on Newt to initiate for them. This isn't how they should be attacking the point. They need to go as a group. They can't be sacrificing their lineup.
It's a very well-placed shield generator that you're seeing on your screens there. And then, the whole attacking side getting caught in a graviton there. Honestly, there's not even much to say about that, because the rest of this is just clean up. Everyone getting their minimum wage janitorial jobs here. Park picking up a few Goobs as well. And honestly, even when they charge through, they're still not dealing with this microwave.
And, they landed an Earth Shadow there, I believe, on, I think, one member. Just really, they didn't make any sort of plays onto Baser. They didn't make any sort of setups. This is a really big difference between the levels of teams that we've seen. You have teams with very good setups from the upper levels where they make plays on the enemy Reinhardt to get those guaranteed Earth Shadows. Nothing's really coming out of the Ascendancy that's doing that. He's sort of just throwing the Earth Shadow out and hoping for the best. There goes another
they're going to go for it again. Yeah, Newt committed. This time they're committing a whole hog with a nano boost. They are going to get this one because there was a well-placed Graviton. Newt may have overcommitted, but it is going to pay off for them. JD getting picked off there. They need to find Absence, though, who has that tac visor just finished up, but he didn't really get enough mileage out of it. Only found Venom. But the respawn, unfortunately, is here for Beza. Now he's come back to clean house alongside Park, and Park holding on to that rocket barrage as well. That was looking really good for Ascendancy for a moment, but they just did not respect Beza.
And again, you know, this part of the problem for me still is the fact that Newton is not a part of these fights. He's so far deep against the enemy team. Ascendancy don't have a shield to play with. That was their best push so far. That was the furthest cart distance they've had so far. I actually do like the adaptation for them to move onto the side here, but Goob's getting that early kill. It means their push is going to slow down again.
They need to get onto this one, though, even with Goob's not being here. Now Park is already getting him behind them, so when they commit, they're going to find rockets in their backs as he gets on top of Venom. The barrage is committed. He gets one, he gets two, three, and maybe, yeah, there we go. Gets your Fang as well. Good stuff from him, and honestly, that was all just positioning. They knew that Ascendancy had to commit right there and then, and they laid a trap that Ascendancy had no choice but to walk into.
That was a really awkward push for Ascendancy as well, because they wanted to push on the flank, and Newt was the only one that ended up committing to that flank, and they dropped a member very early. It was the Ana player, Fractured, I believe, and then, no, it wasn't actually Fractured. Fractured was the Lucio. But either way, they dropped the Ana player. The other 4 members decided to go through the upper battlements on top of the arch, jump through the window, but they didn't have their main tank with them. Newt wasn't there with the Reinhardt. He was pushing on the flank by himself, protecting nobody. This is a real problem for this team, as I don't think, again, they're applying the main tank properly.
And also, like, don't take this the wrong way, but I feel like Ascendancy fell into a bit of a solo queue trap that people play on Dorado, right? When you just kind of go through that main choke point because, well, that's where the payload is, and like that's where the road goes, right? But there's a lot of different ways you can actually attack that point. You can get them from behind. They didn't really choose to commit to either of the available flanks until right at the very end, like you said, where they ended up on the battlements. But they could have gone around the side to take the stairs, instead taking that alternate entry into the square. They had other options. They never actually explored them. They did the same thing every single fight and lost every single fight.
And I feel like they should have tried that a bit earlier. And I was quite surprised the only time, eventually when they did go for that flank push, they did it right at the end where it's a little bit too late for that. I mean, on one hand, it's like, yeah, it's better late than never, but it still just didn't really work out for them. Getting early picks, this is the problem again, is when Park's running that barrier, when they've also got Zaya as well spamming down the line, you can't waste any time. They were playing the sort of poke battle against Wumbology, and they lost heavily because of Park.
Yeah, Fractured setting up some interesting turret placements there. Just, if nothing else, giving them a bit of an idea of where this team is moving and with who. So, a fairly nice setup there. He's not really looking for kills, but in any case, not much ground needs to be made here by Wumbology, and they're certainly a team that could just steamroll this if Ascendancy aren't careful.
Well, they're definitely looking to do that. I mean, unfortunately, the cart distance is just barely past the archway. If Wumbology wanted to be very cruel, they could potentially do this in one push. They can make the setup for that. But either way, they've got a lot of time to work with and very little distance to achieve. So for Ascendancy, I purely think they have to play quite a bit more aggressively here. Make sure the cart stays as far away from that checkpoint as possible.
Yeah, there is a very window in which Ascendancy can commit to fights. Here comes that window now as Beza goes charging in. He's just trying to make space for them. Venom does get away on the back line, but they've already picked up Implicit in Yafang. Oh, and Park finding Venom as well. JD gets another one. It's all over Rover quicker than it began. This is absolutely going to be a point cap, and honestly, Ascendancy just kind of crumbled.
Yeah, Ascendancy, very, very tough game for them. I mean, again, we sort of said this at the start of the match, where it was kind of like, Ascendancy still very new team. Wumbology, probably the fan favorite, and you know, it might have even been my favorite team from yesterday that didn't qualify. So going up against a power, I'm getting close to that. I'm just an on-bat right now. I'm not going to put a W at the front of that yet. But yeah, like I'm saying, going up against Wumbology, one of the clear favorites to actually take out the qualifiers today. I think Ascendancy had a very tough game.
Yeah, they absolutely did. And I mean, Ascendancy, they did have a decent scoreline yesterday, right? They were within that pool of, if you will, top 10 teams and also one of the returning teams from yesterday. So, you know, I can't really... It's hard to say, think of what to say about this team after this performance, right? Because as much as they are a bit of an up-and-comer, as much as they have maybe got a lot of promise in them, at the same time, Wumbology was so close to qualifying, you can call them a team within that top 10 et al. That will include the playoffs. So Ascendancy, even if they're on the up, if they can't beat teams like Wumbology, I don't know if they get out today.